rarely has there been a president more determined to overturn everything with respect to the man who preceded him. And you saw that with a terrifying clarity. You've seen it over the last 5 or 6 months.
You mentioned the prospect of more talks in Oman, at which point a plan was already in motion, if not actually in effect. And what were the diplomatic off-ramp possibilities, and were they existing even up to that point?
Look, they had 5 rounds of negotiations. There was a time limit. Donald Trump set it, right? June 11, 2 months to negotiate a deal that took the Biden administration beginning in 2015, or sorry, beginning earlier, but consummated in 2015, 2 years to negotiate. My reading from the beginning—
That would be the Obama administration.
I'm sorry, the Obama administration with the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, the Iran nuclear agreement. I mean, I've been around negotiations for the better part of my professional life. They require several things to succeed. They require 2 parties that are serious and willing. They require urgency, not just pain, but the prospects of gain, so that each side could walk away having won something. And they require some achievable, attainable goal. There was absolutely no way that these negotiations— the headlines were going in the wrong direction, and had the Israelis not struck, I suspect, even if they extended the time frame for diplomatic negotiations, they would not have succeeded. The gaps between Iran and the U.S. on critical issues were as wide as the Grand Canyon. So I think that was another consideration that the prime minister folded into his pitch to the president.
From Iran's point of view, was the thinking that we've fulfilled all of our obligations and Donald Trump just swept the pieces off the chessboard, and now where does that leave us?
Well, in 2018, Donald Trump extricated the United States from an agreement which was flawed, but I would argue still functional. It constrained, it restrained, it bought time. The monitoring and inspection provisions about the sites that we knew about, the IAEA knew about, and the Israelis knew about. There are undeclared sites, which— more on this later in the conversation, which are highly problematic. It was flawed but functional. And Trump, for reasons— he self-styled the world's greatest negotiator. This was an Obama deal. He knows, he believes Iran is a bad actor, true enough. And he rarely has there been a president more determined to overturn everything with respect to the man who preceded him. And you saw that with a terrifying clarity. You've seen it over the last 5 or 6 months. So I think from the Iranian perspective, yeah, he unilaterally walked out of the accord, but let's be clear, the Iranians are not good actors here. The IAEA earlier this week, with 35 countries, 19 of whom voted to hold Iran in censure because they've been violating their NPT and additional protocol requirements. They're enriching uranium at a level that exceeds— and remember, just because the U.S. pulled out of the agreement still exists with the Brits, the French, the Germans, the Russians. And I think the Iranian calculation was to look at Trump as their version of the big actor, of the great Satan. I think they were concerned, however, which is why they agreed to send the Iranian foreign minister, the key negotiator, to meet directly with Stephen Witkoff. A lot of this was brokered by the Omanis, but the Iranians broke a taboo of their own, which was to actually begin direct negotiations with Stephen Witkoff, largely because I think they believed, rightly, that forget Marco Rubio, forget Mike Waltz, forget Pete Hegseth. Stephen Witkoff is the envoy for everything. He's the only person in this administration, I think, that enjoys the real trust and confidence, if you can use those words, with respect to Donald Trump's relationships, largely because Witkoff succeeded in the one area of the human enterprise that Donald Trump respects more than any other: the accumulation of capital.
We'll be updating you on a potential program on Monday with Ambassador Dennis Ross to further take us through what's going on with Israel, Iran, and the United States role in all of that. And as you see some upcoming programs, we'd also like you to join us for. I'm Pat Morrison. Thank you for joining us tonight.